Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Have you ever doubted the benefits and effectiveness of any medication you may be taking? Have you ever thought there may be a better way to do it? Have you ever thought about perhaps taking natural remedies? Let me explain to you why I raised this question. A few weeks ago, I had my second stroke. Strokes are a serious health issue. It did affect my vision to some extent, and it has affected my memory. And of course, during this period of time, I was taking medication for blood thinners and also for blood pressure. I was taking those two medications. Yet, despite those medications, I still had stroke number 2. As a result of having this second stroke, I wanted to learn a little bit more about the causes and effects and what I might be able to do to perhaps prevent another one occurring, because obviously the medication that I've been given is not working as well as it should be. Maybe I need a change. So I went to YouTube. And I checked out a couple of doctors on YouTube. Now, one of the doctors was Dr. Dennis Goodman. He was a cardiologist, or he is a cardiologist, and he actually worked with Dr. Christian Barnard, who carried out the first heart transplant. So he's a recognised heart cardiologist. And he was a cardiologist who switched to holistic type medicines, and I'll explain the reasoning for that later. And there was also a Dr. John Bergman. Now, Dr. John Bergman is doing YouTube clips on many different topics, and on this particular clip that I looked at, he explained the purpose and function of blood. You might think it's pretty elementary and simple, but the function of blood is to take oxygen to the tissues. It is to supply nutrients to the body. It is to remove carbon dioxide and waste from your body. It regulates a pH level, which is alkalinity and acidity. You must have a very specified level of acidity to alkalinity. It's somewhere usually between 7 and 7.5. And of course, blood carries antibodies through your immune system. Now then he asked a very, very interesting question. He said, if your blood rate was slowed down, would any of these functions that I've just mentioned improve? The answer to that is no. No, no, no. So that brings me to the point about blood pressure. Now, blood pressure, as we all know, they put a cuff on your arm and they check for 2 different measurements. The first measurement is the pumping rate of your heart, and that's called the diastolic pressure. And the second measurement is called the systolic, and that is the resting rate of your heart, the pressure which is generated. Now, most people accept the fact that 120 over 80 is the ideal blood pressure. If you go to your doctor, they usually say 120 over 80. But times have changed. Times have changed, and the new objective in terms of blood pressure is about 159 to 90. So that might make a lot of people a lot happier. It doesn't have to be 120 over 80. 159 to 90 is quite acceptable. Of course, your body is adaptive. It is adaptive to what you are doing. So if you're riding a bike, you're not going to be sitting on 120 to 80 with your blood pressure. It's going to go up because your body needs that extra oxygen. It needs that extra blood flow. Does that make sense to you all? So, likewise, if you have a heart problem or a heart disease, right, that's usually caused by scar tissue or a build-up of cholesterol or fatty substance in your arteries, and that will, of course, it's a bit like a pipe. It should be like that. But as you get older, and if you have a heart disease, it will close down, which forces your blood pressure to rise. Now, if you slow that down, what is going to happen? Is that going to be good for you? There are two schools of thought. That if you have consistent high blood pressure over a long period of time, it's going to cause more pressure and it will thicken the arteries, and that's really not good for you. However, the other school of thought is that you need that blood pressure elevated to service the needs of your body. Does that make sense to you all? That is actually what causes blood pressure to be elevated, and it can be good for you. But if you go to a doctor, quite often they will say automatically, if your blood pressure is not 120 over 80, then we're going to put you on medication. And that is not necessarily good. This Dr. Bergman has said that if you have vegetable juices, if you have a glass of vegetable juice every day for 90 days, it will take out the impurities in your arteries. 90 days, he virtually guarantees it. Now, whether or not this information is correct, it's come from a very good source. I haven't finished my 90-day trial, but I'm trying it. I want to change. I want to see if I can do something to improve my mortality rate. That's probably the best way of putting it. So I'll try anything. And it's not hard, it doesn't cost anything, and it's better than putting drugs into your body. So, ladies and gentlemen, I urge you all to not always accept what the doctor says to you. Consider change and consider other alternatives, because it may, as a result, extend your lifespan.